110 and 75 roll with the complimentary plays here on the Video Report over the past 94 days, including a 4-0 sweep since Monday after giving you the Royals last night. I've got a free play in college football for the Thursday night card coming up. No, it's not the SEC clash between Auburn and Kentucky because, to be honest, I have no idea who's going to win that game. We might as well both flip a coin on that one. And it's not going to be the Pac-12 TV game between Stanford and UCLA. I'm going to break down the game for you since I handicapped it in depth and give you some thoughts about it. No, the free pick is actually going to be on the game you probably didn't even know they were playing. It's the Conference USA tilt going between Western Kentucky and North Texas. I think it's the second best bet on the board. That's why it's my free play today. What's the best bet? Well, that's going to be the NFL game between the Falcons and the Saints. And guys, you know, normally a 15-dime release is my top-rated play. And yesterday, for the 6th straight day, I cashed in with one of those 15-dime plays. In fact, I've won now 11 of my last 14 of them, including 5 out of 6 in football the past 3 weekends combined after cashing with the Bengals because I bought the hook on Sunday against Seattle and LSU over South Carolina on Saturday. Last night, another 15-dime winner. You got it as half-price play of the day as I was on the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, today I am raising the bar because how many times have I said to you that when a handicapper or a gambler, when you're on a roll, when you've got that momentum, that's when you've got to step up to the table and you've got to press your luck because at that point, not only do you have Mr. Momentum on your side, but you also have your sports book, your man's money in your pocket, and that's what you're playing with. Well, it's my time to step up here. I've won each of the past 6 days. I'm going for winning day number 16 out of 20. And today, for just the 3rd time since November of 2013, I'm going to have a 20-dime release in the NFL. That's right, a 20-dime release in the NFL. That's how rare it is. Only the 3rd time going back to November of 2013. And it's tonight's Falcons-Saints side. And it's the half-price play of the day again. Because, guys, as I always like to tell you, you don't have to spend big money to make big money. It's the half-price play of the day simply by using coupon code HALF, H-A-L-F. Yes, it is that easy. Hey, guys, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm on a nice little roll, okay? Nice little roll. I will certainly take this type of roll any given month. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Winning 15 of the past 19 days. But it pales in comparison with what the hell Brad Wilton has done. He did it again yesterday, winning day number 17 out of 21. A $10 bettor has won $22,220 over the past 3 weeks. Just following his plays. Yesterday, 100-dime winner number 9 out of 13. He was on the Royals as well. You got it as the half-price play of the day. You know, I think about that game last night. And listen, I gave it to you as a free pick, okay? And you talk about the Royals, and my whole analysis last night was on the fact that Johnny Cueto had not pitched like the guy who had 5 straight seasons of a sub 2.9 earned run average with the Cincinnati Reds. Any way you slice it, he had been awful since joining Kansas City. That's the bottom line. An ERA close to 4.5. I mean, this was a guy that it was generally acknowledged, as I pointed out to you yesterday, that if he showed any signs of trouble, he was going to get the early hook. And when Kansas City fell down 2-0 yesterday, you probably were thinking the same thing I was. Bye-bye, Johnny. But then suddenly, he turns into Johnny Cueto, who had pitched so well and been such a dominant hurler for the Cincinnati Reds the past 5 seasons. And he pitches them to the win. So now you're sitting here, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, or we can say in retrospect, and you're going, okay, he pitched poorly for us throughout the regular season after we got him at the All-Star break, after the All-Star break at the trade deadline. But we gave up 3 of our top prospects to the Reds, but he delivered in a crucial Game 5 at home when all the chips were on the line to put us back in the ALCS for the 2nd straight season. And now you have to say, if you're Kansas City Royals, a fan, a GM, president of the team, you go, was it worth it getting Johnny Cueto? Well, it paid dividends last night, didn't it? Anyway, Brad Wilton, I don't know what the hell he has going for today because I'm doing this video report for you at 4 a.m. in the morning. So I don't know. Check out the homepage. You can see for yourself. I can tell you in college football tonight, Steve Buden's #1 college football crew, each of the past 2 seasons, the Cali Cartel, 50-dime football winner number 23 out of 35, college and pro combined, going tonight. It's your Stanford UCLA side. matches their $50 winner on the Patriots a year ago in the Super Bowl. You save $70, which means you get it for just $29 by using coupon code CALI29. That's CALI29. CALI29. Don't you feel like when I'm doing this, we should have the little letters popping up underneath me? You know, little bright yellow letters popping up on the screen. CALI2. Can you call in the video crew too? No, the video crew is not coming, and we're not getting instant replay on these videos either. Okay, let's get to the good stuff here. Let's talk about the complimentary play. Western Kentucky. I don't know if you're aware of it, but this is what happened in North Texas. This is the kind of week that North Texas had. Now, this is a team that 2 years ago beat UNLV in some, I think it was the Dallas Star Bowl or some weird game like that in Dallas, Texas, okay? Dan McCarney, who at one time was an Iowa State head coach, you know, he molded a pretty successful program. But I think they had lost 8 or 9 starters from their defense from a year ago. And this team just had been hammered in each of its first 4 games this season. So last week, they take on a 1AA team at homecoming. You know, when you have a homecoming game, you generally want to win it because you have your fans, you have the alums, you have the boosters, you have the donators, you have everybody there. So it always helps when you play a team that you should beat. Well, that's who they should have beaten. Portland State, a 1AA team. That's who they hosted last week. They lost the damn game 66-7. And minutes after the game, North Texas fired the head coach. So the Mean Green in that game, they were outgained 670 yards to 198 by a 1AA team at home on homecoming. That's how you get your ass fired if you're a college football coach. Now, Western Kentucky comes in here. You know, Western Kentucky wins tonight. It's their 6th win. They're bowl eligible. And believe me, they're going to go to a bowl. Hell, they have won 9 out of 10 regular season games since late last season. They're off to a 3-0 start, both straight up and against the spread in Conference USA action. They're coming off a 58-28 home rout of Middle Tennessee State, a game in which they were up 52-14 at halftime in that contest, had 593 total yards of offense in that game. Now, the North Texas defense, I told you, they were just stripped bare because of graduation, okay? They're allowing opposing quarterbacks to complete 74% of their passes and 290 yards a game. And you've got a quarterback for Western Kentucky that most of you probably have never heard of, but believe me, this guy's going to be drafted by an NFL team next year. Could be a 3rd-round pick. Maybe he gets up into the 2nd round. Who knows as the season progresses. But it's a 6-year senior. His name is Brandon Doughty. It's not spelled that way, but it's pronounced Doughty. 5 touchdown passes last week, okay? For the season, 74.7% completions, okay? 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's only been sacked 7 times, and I point that out because he's dropped back to throw the ball 229 times. Only sacked 7 times, and he's already thrown for 2,300 yards. Now, that's this year's numbers in 5 games, okay? Last year, if you're not familiar with this guy, he threw for 4,830 yards, 49 touchdown passes last year. 49, okay? He's got 20 already going. He might get 5. I don't know. He can get 5 or 6 more tonight, okay? He's a good quarterback. And this Western Kentucky team, you know, they really opened eyes. If you remember the first night of college football back first Thursday in September, they went to Vanderbilt. They won that game 14-12. It doesn't matter. The Vanderbilt is not an upper echelon team in the SEC. The fact is they're an SEC team. They have a better quality athlete, a more athletic athlete, if you want to say it that way. They won 41-38 at home. I think it was in revenge against Louisiana Tech. Their lone loss was 38-35 at Indiana. They beat up Rice on the road 49-10. You know, and I think about that Rice game. Hell, Texas didn't even beat Rice that convincingly playing in Austin early in the season. But this team goes to Rice and beats the hell out of the Owls in Houston. They beat Miami of Ohio at home 56-14. No big deal there. Bottom line, they've scored 58, 49, 56, 35, and 41 points in their last 5 games. Last 5 games for North Texas, the Mean Green, well, not so mean. They've given up 31, 38, 62, 49, and 66 points, okay? They have a new head coach. He's an interim head coach. He's their offensive coordinator. Same offensive coordinator who was interim coach for them and went 2-3 in the 2010 season. He says he's prepared to open things up because, as he said, quote, they have nothing to lose, and ain't he telling the truth. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to see a change in quarterback. They're probably going to play a guy, DeMarcus Smith, who's a junior, who used to be at Western Kentucky and played in 5 games when the Hilltoppers were coached by Bobby Petrino a couple of years back. But the bottom line is here. North Texas only scores 14.8 points a game. North Texas has allowed 15 sacks of whoever's playing quarterback for them so far this season. You got Western Kentucky that's won its last 3 games by at least 30-point margins, and you have a 32.5 to 33-point line in this game tonight. And the total is sitting at 70.5. Seems like Western Kentucky is a shoo-in, right? Here's the only thing you have to be worried about. Who does Western Kentucky play 2 Saturdays from now, and where do they play? Baton Rouge against number 6 LSU. You're taking on the team that everybody and your brother expects you to beat the hell out of, and you should beat the hell out of them. But there's a reason that this is a free pick and not my best bet tonight. Because as I always tell you, and I win a large majority of my free picks, as you've seen by my current run, right, is that for one reason or another, the free pick is that slightly flawed selection. And that's the caveat tonight, the look-ahead situation for Western Kentucky. So I'm going to give you Western Kentucky as a free pick because on paper, no ifs, ands, or buts again. They should win this game by 48 points. I mean, really, they show up and they should be up 48-0. They should win this game with ease. But you have that little circle on your calendar with LSU. Imagine, you're going to LSU. You're going to be playing in front of 100,000 screaming Tiger fans on a Saturday, and you're Western Kentucky. That's a step up to the big time. That's a little bigger than going to Rice, a little bigger than going to Indiana, okay? A little bigger than going to Vanderbilt. Huge step-up game for them, so you've got to understand. These are 17 to 22-year-old kids. Of course they're going to have their eyes set in the future for that game. So I like Western Kentucky as your free pick. I'd say go with the over here as well. The only problem is it's 70.5 points. I don't know if Northern Texas is going to score any points in this game. I mean, this could very well be like a 49-7 rout. Okay, so I lean toward the under in this game rather than the more, I think, on the surface obvious choice of going over. But I'm going to go with Western Kentucky. I'd lay the 33 points. And again, I like the under in this contest as well. So those are your 2 free picks for that game. God forbid if you should parlay them together, you should be shot. Okay, Stanford, UCLA. It's a fair price, 6.5, but it's one of those points spreads that, makes you have to wonder. Stanford has certainly played well since losing 16-6 to Northwestern in the season opener. Beat Central Florida at home 31-7, big deal. Everybody beating George O'Leary's team this squad year. The most impressive win they had was this 9.5-point road dog. They upset USC 41-31. They won at Oregon State 42-24. They beat up Arizona 2 weeks ago when Arizona was playing a backup quarterback that couldn't throw the ball. Matter of fact, it was one of my best bets that night. It was my Saturday night lock of the year with Stanford destroying them 55-17. Meanwhile, you got a Bruins team that's coming off a 38-23 home loss to Arizona State. The Bruins were outgained 465-342 in total yards in that game. They were out first down 25-17 in that game. And that loss came after a 4-0 start. But now I start looking back at the 4-0 start. Who did they beat? Mediocre effort in Josh Rosen's debut as a college quarterback, the freshman. They beat Virginia. They beat up UNLV. Big deal. They had to rally in the fourth quarter to beat BYU. And then they took on an Arizona squad that wasn't any good and was playing its backup quarterback who couldn't throw the ball. UCLA has lost 3 starters on defense. David Shaw, the Stanford head coach, 5-0 lifetime against UCLA. Jim Mart has been on the losing side of each of those last 4 games. You got a UCLA team that can't stop the run, giving up almost 198 yards a game. You got a Stanford team that loves to run those big double, the big offensive line with the double tight end sets. They love to pound the ball right down your throat. You got a 5th-year quarterback in Kevin Hogan who's never lost to the Bruins, and in those 4 games has had decent numbers. 65 of 88, 776 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. But on the other side, you got a UCLA team that has an explosive offense with the freshman quarterback Josh Rosen and, who is the running back for, can't think of the running back. Perkins? Paul Perkins. I was going to say, I kept thinking Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins. Can you imagine a 7'2" running back? Wouldn't that be a sight to be seen? Anyway, Paul Perkins averaging 115 yards a game, even though Arizona State only held him to 63 last week. I look at this game. I know Stanford has owned the series, and I look at that 6.5 number. I can see Stanford winning this by 7 to 10 points. I can see this being a 3 to 4 point game with UCLA. The last game I had that quandary with was the Steelers and the Chargers the other night, and I told you ultimately I thought the Steelers could win that game outright, and they did. And this one, I'm not going to venture a guess. As I said, I handicapped the game. I've given you all the information. What can I tell you? Again, I can see Stanford winning the game and getting the cover. But at the same time, I would not be surprised if this was a 3 or 4 point game. At 3.5, I would have loved Stanford as well. And let's face it, if UCLA had not laid an egg against Arizona State last week, no ifs, ands, or buts, again, this would have been a 3 to 3.5 point line. But you lost the value you had in this game when UCLA lost to Arizona State, making them now a 3.5 point favor, 6.5 point underdog in this game, rather than get a 3.5 to 3 point underdog. And that's truly where I think the line would have been if not for their loss last week to Arizona State. So that'll do it, guys. Best of luck to you all, and I wish you well. And remember, Friday we will be doing this one more time.